Hello, Carolina Day School. My name is Steve Goldberg. There's a picture of me down there, and I'm opening a new school in 2013, a middle school. And I have a blog that talks about what I learned today. And if you scroll down here, I had a couple people write comments on my blog. One of them is a guy named John Burke. The other, someone you know, is a guy named John Douglas. And about a week ago, I'm recording this on the 21st of July, he commented on my blog and said he can't wait to watch this evolve and had some suggestions for how to sort student reflections on my blog. So I emailed him and said thanks for your comment on my blog, and we traded a few emails back and forth. And he sent me, I said, what would be helpful for you for me to show your faculty? And he said, well, you have this family history project that you guys work on in sixth grade. And I think I can work with that. And then your seventh graders study physical science. So maybe incorporate Google Earth into earthquakes and volcanic activity to demonstrate the Ring of Fire. And I think we can do that too. So the tool that I'm using here to record this is called Screencast-O-Matic. It's free. You can get it at screencast-o-matic.com, and I'll leave it to you guys to figure out more about that, but it's a pretty neat tool. And let me also jump into Google Earth. And I don't have, this isn't a relative of mine, but a good friend of mine is from Kenya. And I think when you have students do this, it's good not to just dive right in to where you're going. I could have taken you directly to where my friend is from, a place called Kibera, which we'll talk about in a second or two here. But if I did that, you wouldn't have gotten a sense of where Kenya is in Africa. And I think it's useful, particularly with middle school students, to say to them, hey, can you find Kenya on this map? Do you think it's over here? Do you think it's up here? Where do you think it might be? So I've actually taken students to Ethiopia and Kenya, so I'm familiar with East Africa, and that would be Kenya right there. And if you were in downtown Nairobi, this is sort of the downtown business district. You can see lots of people have put pictures in around here. And if we shift a little bit to the west, there's a lovely golf course there. But just south of the golf course, there's a place called Kibera. And I must have this on for some reason. But let me measure it. There's a measuring tool on Google Earth that you can use. And from one end of Kibera to the other is about 2 miles, 1.81 or so miles. And it's about half a mile wide. So that's a little bit smaller than Central Park in New York City. And you might be surprised to learn, I hope you'll be surprised to learn, that that area there is home to about 1.5 million people. And there's no running water and there's no electricity. And I had a chance to take some students there on a service learning trip back in the summer of 2006. And if we can, yeah, I posted a YouTube video. This will be interesting if this works. Yeah, so these are students walking through Kibera. And you get a sense of what the walls look like. We were there in the dry season, so you can imagine in the rainy season that all the floors here totally turn to mud. But I'll let this speak for itself for a second. Pretty much the whole place is this tightly packed together, and there's a young boy caring for his younger sibling, I think. So you can import. If you're familiar with this, I put the source code in there to embed the video in here, and we can, if you guys are interested, we can talk more about how you set up a lot of these things. But my friend Ken grew up in Kibera, and I could tell you a little bit about Ken. His name is Ken Okoth, and he went to Georgetown. Well, he grew up in Kibera. He went to one of the top prep schools there. He got a scholarship going there, and then he got scholarships to St. Lawrence University and to Georgetown. And this article talks more about Ken. I thought there was a picture of him here, which is why I was pulling. There's a picture of Ken. It's small. Um, let's see if we can get a better picture of Ken. And this would be what you might have your sixth graders do, is find pictures of their relatives. There's a picture of Ken. Oh, and he's talking about how a scholarship enabled him to come. Here, we'll get the website for that image from St. Lawrence. That changed my life. He arrives on campus with a suitcase still with his cleanest clothes. And it goes on and talks about Ken. Ken's now running for parliament in Kenya, and I'm going to have him Skype into my classes several times. So that's one possible use of Google Earth, bringing Ken's life into focus a little more. Because if we zoom in on Kibera, you can see how tightly packed the housing is there. There might be 10 families living in that one little area there. Ken's family grew up. Ken grew up with one of 5 or 6 children in a 10-foot by 10-foot room, again with no running water, no electricity. So you could tell various stories about all sorts of people. And one last thing I wanted to show you is I looked for Ring of Fire, and this is a guy found. We didn't find. He made a video that was layering. I think he's showing the most recent volcanic activity.
10 o'clock p.m.
Sort of play this.
Time. I'm going to do a Ring of Fire update for like the last 7 days. It's been really active and some major earthquakes going on. This is a view from Earthquake 3D, and this is the last 7 days, and this is just threes and aboves.
So the audio probably didn't come up there because I have a mic on, but he was talking about this is things that hit 3 or above on the Richter scale. And yeah, so this is using Google Earth, and I guess there's something called a volcano add-on, which I'd never heard of before. But again, the possibilities here are pretty limitless. And I am located in Durham, North Carolina. Go back across away from Africa, about 3.5 miles away from you guys. And so if we zoom out to where you all are in Asheville, you're over this way, right? Let's type that in. Asheville, NC. There you are. And so we could measure from you to me. I'm going to turn off all these other links that are getting in the way. And that is about 200 miles, but in the age of the internet, it really doesn't matter where anybody is. You can and should be, I would argue, interacting with people around the world the same way I'm going to interact with Ken. And I'll just show you one last thing that students really like. This is the world's largest swimming pool. And again, we just zoomed right into it. You can measure it at 0.6 of a mile long. It's pretty crazy. But I would have students make another place mark that just gives you the context. So you can see, oh, it's halfway down the coast of Chile. And then you can zoom back into it and see this. And kids want to know, who built it and how much water does it hold. And there's all sorts of interdisciplinary things you can do with this. So here's a few pictures of it. And just to leave you thinking about the world's largest swimming pool, which is often a good thing to think about. I guess that's the resort that it's near as well, but you get a sense of how big that is. And that's an introduction to Google Earth in less than 10 minutes. I hope this is helpful and look forward to possibly working with you guys. Take care.